Greetings and welcome again to the Gaming Codex, the show where I try to explain to you all the various terms used within the video games industry and when referring to video games. On today's show we have the Iron Man mode. And what would this be? Well, according to the general definition, Iron Man mode is a game design element that limits the user's ability to save games, whereas the save game function can only be used when exiting the game. It is meant to prevent players from attempting to correct errors and live with the consequences of their decisions. In many ways, the Iron Man mode is similar to the hardcore mode or permadeath mode, where if your character or characters die, they are dead forever and you cannot reload to save them. The same concept is applied to games using the Iron Man mode, but it doesn't just relate to them dying, it relates to everything you do. It comes from, well, the fact that video games did not work with game saves as we know them now. Back in the olden days, you did not have the ability to save a game. There was no actual way to correct an error that you had just made unless you restarted the entire game and tried something different. It goes back to the arcade days when games were particularly made to be very difficult in order to eat up your quarters and leave you penniless. When games made the jump to the home consoles, they weren't as difficult, but you still did not have for the most part the ability to save your progress, so it was still the same thing. It was still a permanent permadeath Iron Man hardcore mode active. On the PC side though, we had save games, so it wasn't really that much of an issue. You could save your game so you wouldn't have to lose progress if you made a mistake and would be forced to restart the entire game, which when you're playing something like Ultima is a very good thing. You don't want to be at the end of Ultima and realize, oh, I had Iron Man mode activated and now I'm dead. And look, Mundane's right in front of me turned into a bat or something. I don't know what he turned into at the end. But as games got the ability to save more and more and more, you sort of lost a bit of the tension that came with the Iron Man mode. Well, it wasn't called Iron Man mode back then, it was not being able to save. So this was a compromise. You still could save, you could still keep your progress when you exit the game, but you could not undo the wrongs you had done. You had to live with them. You had to play as best you could constantly because there was no going back. And it did help to make some games a lot more impactful. Now, what is the popular definition? Well, that depends on who you ask. It's either what's that or the only way to truly play a game. Iron Man mode is not extremely popular. You will not find it in the biggest games out there. You'll not find this in Call of Duty. You'll not find this in you won't find this in Battlefield, even though there was a mission in Battlefield 1 where your character would die and die and die and die and you would see their names because it was a World War I homage. But that's not what Iron Man mode is. People believe, some people, that Iron Man mode is truly the only way you can actually play a game properly because you do not get the save scum anymore. You do not get to retry the same scenario again and again and again and again like it was a game or something until you get the perfect outcome that you would want to. They believe that the outcome you get from your first try is the one you're going to have to live with, or you're going to have to restart the entire game and just get better at it until you have the perfect outcome each time on your first try, or as best an outcome as you can get, or at least an outcome of some sorts that then you have to live with. It's especially applied to turn-based tactics games and turn-based strategy games, though not always often. XCOM is a great example of a game series that has recently gotten the ability to enable Iron Man mode. The old ones didn't have it. Why didn't they have it? Because it could get frustrating to die repeatedly and to have to live with the consequences of dying repeatedly because there was just one alien left that you couldn't see. It was a feature to not have it. Iron Man mode is absolutely optional, and it does help some games become more of an adventure. For example, Mount and Blade. It has the option to only allow you to save on exit, and it does make every fight feel even more tense. Even though this is a game where you cannot actually permanently lose, you cannot be killed off, I think. But not being able to reload a save means that every mistake you make will be quantified, every battle you lose will be that much harder on you, and it can lead to some very interesting emergent storytelling. Same with the recent XCOM games. Your mistakes, your failures to plan out a proper defensive the game's innate ability to get its own rules completely wrong very often. This can lead to very interesting things and also a lot of frustration. Iron Man mode is not something you'll find in every game because it doesn't really suit every game well, and it doesn't suit every player well. Some people will just want to be able to get another crack at something instead of playing continually something that they screwed up. People sometimes play games to escape from the reality that you can't load a save game. Others see it still as a challenge and enjoy it. Now, what would be the marketing definition of Iron Man mode? Well, that is something we put in games with so many bugs that you'll regret ever using it. And again, I'm gonna go back to XCOM, the new ones. These are not games that should have an Iron Man mode, even as an option, because they have just too many bugs. Their physics, their calculations do not work. You will be shot through solid walls by weapons that must first penetrate a wall to shoot you, but they don't shoot through the wall. They shoot through the wall, but if the wall was not there, not that they destroyed the wall. Also, enemies get stuck in midair and then you absolutely have to fail a mission in order to actually continue, because you have no choice, you have no ability to actually go back. It happens a lot more often than you think it does. And there's absolutely no planning for that. There's no way a player can anticipate that. And you're left with a failure that you have to live with that wasn't your fault. And that can be extremely frustrating. And when a game gets frustrating, it's not engaging anymore, it's something you uninstall. Though again, there are games that deal very well with Iron Man mode. There are games where Iron Man mode is absolutely going to generate a more engaging experience, like pretty much every grand strategy game made by Paradox, where every battle, every decision, everything is going to be right on the line because you cannot reload, you cannot re-roll the dice, everything will be just as it was, and everything will go on, leaving you to pick up the pieces. So closes this edition of the Gaming Codex. Come back next time when we will talk about a brand new subject. Goodbye.